There's a reason certain farms have been producing food for generations without ever losing their edge. Not because they had better land to begin with, and not because they relied on modern fertilizers or chemical inputs. It came down to a system, simple on the surface but deeply disciplined, that kept soil alive year after year. Among the most consistent examples of this approach are Amish farms. While much of modern agriculture has become dependent on synthetic inputs just to maintain yields, these farmers built something far more stable. Their soil didn't just survive decades of use, it improved over time. And here's what makes this worth paying attention to. The principles behind that system are not locked away or complicated. They're practical, repeatable, and still work today if applied correctly. What follows isn't theory. It's a method built through generations of observation, patience, and necessity. They treated soil as a living system rather than something to be fed artificially. The core difference starts with how soil is viewed. Modern systems often treat it as a medium that holds plants, while nutrients are added externally. Amish farmers took the opposite approach. They saw soil as something alive, something that needed to be maintained, protected, and allowed to function naturally. Instead of adding synthetic fertilizer to force growth, they focused on building organic matter. This created a self-sustaining environment where nutrients were constantly being recycled. The result was soil that retained moisture better, resisted erosion, and supported healthier crops without constant intervention. You can apply this by shifting your focus away from quick fixes. Start improving the organic content of your soil rather than relying on external inputs. Crop rotation was used as a long-term strategy, not a seasonal habit. One of the most powerful tools in this system is crop rotation, but not in the simplified way it's often practiced today. Amish farmers rotated crops over multiple years with a clear purpose, restoring balance to the soil. A field might grow corn one year, followed by legumes the next, then grasses or cover crops after that. Each stage served a function. Legumes added nitrogen back into the soil. Grasses improved structure. The system wasn't random, it was planned with long-term soil health in mind. To use this approach, think in cycles rather than single seasons. Map out what each crop takes from the soil and what it gives back. Then build a rotation that restores what's lost. Animal manure replaced the need for synthetic fertilizers. Livestock played a central role in maintaining soil fertility. Instead of purchasing fertilizers, Amish farms relied on manure as a natural nutrient source. But it wasn't applied carelessly. Manure was often composted first, allowing it to break down into a more stable form. This reduced the risk of burning crops and improved nutrient absorption. This method created a closed-loop system. Crops fed animals, animals produced manure, and manure returned nutrients to the soil. Nothing was wasted. If you have access to animal manure, even in small amounts, compost it before use. Spread it evenly and allow time for it to integrate into the soil before planting. Cover crops were used to protect and rebuild soil between harvests. Empty soil was never left exposed, you know. After harvesting, fields were planted with cover crops like clover or rye. These plants served multiple purposes. They prevented erosion, suppressed weeds, and added organic matter back into the soil. Some, like clover, also fixed nitrogen, enriching the soil naturally. When the time came, these cover crops were turned back into the soil, feeding it for the next planting cycle. You can start by planting a simple cover crop after your main harvest. Even a small patch can improve soil quality over time. Minimal disturbance preserved the natural structure of the soil. Modern farming often relies on heavy tilling, which disrupts soil structure and microbial life. Amish farmers minimized this as much as possible. By reducing disturbance, they allowed beneficial organisms to thrive. These organisms played a key role in breaking down organic matter and making nutrients available to plants. This approach also improved water retention and reduced compaction. To apply this, limit how often you turn your soil. Use gentler methods and avoid unnecessary disturbance. Composting was treated as a foundation, not an afterthought. Composting wasn't optional, it was essential. Every piece of organic waste was returned to the soil in some form. Kitchen scraps, crop residues and manure were all combined and allowed to break down naturally. This created a steady supply of nutrient-rich material that improved soil structure and fertility. Starting a compost system is one of the simplest ways to adopt this method. Over time, it reduces the need for external inputs and strengthens your soil. Diversity in crops and planting reduced long-term soil depletion. Growing the same crop repeatedly in the same space leads to nutrient depletion and increased pest problems. Amish farms avoided this by maintaining diversity. Different crops were planted in different areas, and even within the same field there was variation. This reduced stress on the soil and created a more balanced ecosystem. You can apply this by mixing crops and avoiding repetition in the same location year after year. Patience and consistency made the system work over decades. What truly set this system apart wasn't a single technique, it was consistency. These methods weren't applied occasionally, they were followed year after year with small adjustments based on observation. There was no expectation of instant results. Improvements in soil health were measured over seasons and years, not weeks. If you adopt this mindset, you'll start to see gradual but lasting improvements in your soil. This system worked because it focused on sustainability instead of shortcuts. The Amish soil system didn't rely on external inputs because it didn't need to. It was built on principles that supported themselves over time. By focusing on organic matter, rotation, natural fertilization and minimal disturbance, they created a system that remained productive for generations. This isn't about rejecting modern methods entirely. It's about understanding that long-term productivity comes from working with the soil, not forcing it. The real lesson is that strong soil creates lasting independence. What these farmers achieved wasn't just good harvests, it was stability. Their soil didn't fail them because they never stopped maintaining it properly. That kind of reliability is rare today, but it's not out of reach. The methods still work. The question is whether they're applied consistently. If you found this useful, subscribe for more deep dives into traditional farming systems and practical knowledge that still holds up today. Share this with someone who understands that real strength in farming starts from the ground up.